The rain hammered down on the black umbrellas like a symphony of sorrow. Daniel stood at the edge of the crowd, his 5-year-old daughter Emma clutching his hand. Both of them soaked to the bone because their umbrella had broken that morning. They weren't here for the deceased billionaire Richard Blackwood. Daniel had only met him once, years ago, when he'd worked as a janitor at Blackwood Enterprises. But something had compelled him to come, to pay respects to the man who'd once looked him in the eye and said, "Keep going, son. Your kindness will matter more than you know." That's when Daniel noticed her, a young woman heavily pregnant, swaying near the grave. Her face was pale, her legs buckling. No one else seemed to see her. The crowd was too absorbed in their designer suits and calculated grief. Daniel didn't hesitate. He scooped Emma onto his hip and rushed forward just as the woman collapsed. He caught her, lowering her gently to the wet grass. "Someone call an ambulance," he shouted. The crowd stared, annoyed at the disruption. A man in an expensive suit sneered, "Can't you see we're in the middle of something?" But Daniel didn't care. He took off his jacket, the only decent one he owned, and placed it under the woman's head. He held her hand, speaking softly until the paramedics arrived. As they loaded her into the ambulance, she gripped his wrist. "Thank you," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "You saved us both." Daniel smiled, brushed the rain from his face, and watched the ambulance disappear. Emma tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, you're a hero." He laughed softly. "Just doing what's right, sweetheart." They walked back to their tiny apartment, Daniel's mind already on tomorrow's double shift at the warehouse. Bills were piling up. Emma needed new shoes. The fridge was nearly empty. Being a single dad meant every day was a battle, but he fought it with everything he had. Hours later, there was a knock at the door. Daniel opened it to find a man in a pristine 3-piece suit, holding a leather briefcase. "Daniel Matthews?" the man asked. "I'm Gerald Pierce, attorney for the late Richard Blackwood. May I come in?" Daniel's heart pounded. What could this possibly be about? They sat at the worn kitchen table, and Gerald opened his briefcase with methodical precision. "Mr. Blackwood changed his will 3 weeks before he passed. He'd been watching you, Mr. Matthews, for years." Daniel's breath caught. "Watching me? Why?" Gerald smiled. "Because 15 years ago you were a janitor at his company. One night, you found his granddaughter wandering the halls, lost and scared during a late board meeting. You spent 2 hours helping her, bought her hot chocolate with money you didn't have, and reunited her with Mr. Blackwood. He never forgot that. He had investigators track your life, your honesty, your dedication to your daughter, your countless acts of kindness even when you had nothing." Gerald slid a document across the table. Today at the funeral he had cameras positioned. He wanted to see who would help that young woman. His goddaughter, by the way, who was instructed to pretend to faint. Dozens of wealthy associates walked past her. You were the only one who stopped. Daniel's hands trembled as he stared at the paper. "What is this?" "Richard Blackwood's entire estate. $500 million. He left it all to you, Mr. Matthews. The houses, the companies, the investments, everything. His only instruction was this: give it to the man who proves kindness isn't dead." Daniel couldn't breathe. Tears blurred his vision. Emma peeked around the corner, confused. Gerald continued. "He believed wealth should belong to those who understand its true purpose, to help others. He trusted you to carry that legacy forward." Daniel looked at his daughter, then back at Gerald. $500 million. It was impossible, unreal. But as the reality sank in, he didn't think about mansions or cars. He thought about the single mothers at Emma's school who struggled like he did, the homeless veterans he passed every day, the pregnant woman he'd helped just hours ago. "I'll do right by him," Daniel whispered. "I promise." Because Richard Blackwood didn't just leave him a fortune. He left him a purpose. And sometimes the universe rewards those who give everything, even when they have nothing left to give.